Starting a brand new Shopify store can be very exciting, but figuring out how and when to form an LLC can feel overwhelming. In this video, I'll break down the cheapest ways to set up an LLC for your e-commerce business without wasting time or money. We'll cover when it makes sense to form an LLC, the basic costs that will be involved with it, and some important considerations if you're just getting started. I'll also share some common mistakes to avoid based on real-world experiences from other successful sellers. So without further ado, let's dive in. Deciding on whether to form an LLC depends largely on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. If you're just experimenting with your first Shopify store, you may not need the added complexity right away. Many e-commerce beginners start out as sole proprietors, which is simple and involves minimal paperwork. This approach can save you money and hassle until your store starts actually generating consistent sales. As a sole proprietor, you don't have to really file any paperwork. You're basically just operating your business as a single person. This is viewed more as a hobby more than anything, but eventually once you start making consistent sales, it might be smart to look at an LLC. Now, the big benefit of forming an LLC is that it provides personal liability protection, which can be crucial once you have real revenue coming in. Lawsuits, although they are rare, can target your personal assets if your business isn't legally separated from them. Ultimately, the timing of your LLC formation depends on your comfort level as well as how much risk you're willing to take. Some entrepreneurs choose to wait until they're seeing regular profits to form an LLC. The logic here is that creating an LLC involves a lot of filing fees and annual costs that you might not want to pay if your store isn't off the ground yet. While these expenses can be a few $100s, they still matter when you're bootstrapping your business. In many cases, a 30-day trial period to see if your products sell can help you gauge whether the store has real potential. If you see steady orders and feel confident about long-term viability, setting up the LLC sooner can make sense here. Waiting too long, though, could expose you to risk if something goes wrong and you're still operating as a sole proprietor. Ultimately, it's about balancing the upfront costs with the benefits of safeguarding your personal finances. Now, one of the things to consider here is that different states have different fees for setting up an LLC, and these costs can vary more than you might think. In some places, you can pay under $100 for filing, while in others, it can run you several $100s. Beyond that, you may need to file annual reports or pay renewal fees to keep your LLC in good standing. This is where services like LegalZoom can simplify things by walking you through the process step by step. They'll handle the paperwork, ensure your filings are correct, and even remind you about important deadlines. If you prefer doing everything yourself, though, state websites usually offer resources, but the process can get a bit tedious. Comparing state by state costs beforehand can help you decide where to form your LLC, especially if you have flexibility in choosing a state. Many new store owners worry about the legal liability aspect. An LLC limits your personal liability, which means that if someone sues your business, they generally can't go after your personal assets, like your car or your home. While it's rare for most small e-commerce stores to face lawsuits, the peace of mind is worth considering, especially once you have significant revenue coming in. On the flip side, if you're just trying out products and not sure e-commerce is for you, taking on that initial LLC setup might feel unnecessary. It's a decision that comes down to how confident you are in your store's future, as well as your own risk tolerance. If you have no significant personal assets, you might feel safer waiting. However, a solid legal foundation can make scaling easier once profits start coming in. Another factor people often overlook is the time that it takes to set up and maintain an LLC. You'll need to pick a business name, usually providing 2 to 3 alternatives in case your first choice is taken. Then there's the paperwork, which can include articles of organization, an operating agreement, and possibly an employer identification number, or EIN. While these tasks aren't overly complicated, they do take quite a bit of mental energy, especially if you've never done them before. That's where a service like LegalZoom can come in handy, handling these steps completely for you so you can focus on growing your business. If you want to get access to LegalZoom's EIN and business formation services, I would definitely recommend checking out the link down in the description. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video where I'll show you step by step how to get started with LegalZoom and how they can set up your LLC completely for you. Plus, it'll be at a fraction of the cost of the other LLC formation services. But still, even if you do all this yourself, it's more about diligence than difficulty. If you're already juggling product research, ad campaigns, and website optimization, outsourcing the step can be a big relief. One common misconception is that you need to form an LLC immediately to start selling. The truth is that you can operate legally as a sole proprietor or even under a doing business as, or DBA for short. This is often enough to begin collecting sales and testing products before committing to a formal entity. If the business doesn't work out or you pivot to a different niche, you won't have wasted time and money on an LLC that you no longer need. However, once you're hitting consistent daily sales, the benefit of forming an LLC begin to outweigh the cost. That's when you'll see the value in shielding your personal assets and positioning your brand more professionally. Keep in mind here though that customers and suppliers sometimes feel more secure working with a registered entity as well. Now, tax advantages are another reason many e-commerce businesses eventually move from sole proprietorship to an LLC. Depending on how you structure things, you could even file your LLC as an S corporation, potentially reducing your self-employment tax burden. This step, however, is best taken once you have predictable revenue and can consult a qualified accountant. Overcomplicating your setup too early could lead to confusion, unnecessary paperwork, and possibly paying more than you need to. If you're not yet consistently profitable, it's often simpler to just keep your taxes straightforward until your store gains traction. Then, once you see a steady flow of sales, you can sit down with a CPA who knows e-commerce. That way, you'll align your business structure with your actual earnings. It might also be wise to invest in an hour of a lawyer or CPA's time, especially if you're unsure about legal structures. As I did mention in this video, this could be somewhat expensive, but it could save you a ton of issues down the line. You can come prepared with a list of questions regarding which entity type makes sense, what state to file in, and how to handle your taxes. This consultation is especially helpful if your monthly revenue has started climbing and you want specific advice tailored to your circumstances. General information online is valuable, but a professional will look at your location, revenue projections, and personal risk. Combining professional insights with an affordable filing service can also be another cost-effective strategy. This way, you can form your LLC with confidence. For those who have existing businesses or a proven track record in e-commerce, jumping straight to an LLC might be a no-brainer. If you already know that your marketing strategies work and you have revenue coming in, waiting doesn't really offer much benefit. In these cases, setting up an LLC from day one can solidify your business presence, as well as streamline your operations under one legal entity. You're also more likely to have a sense of the scale and potential liabilities that you'll face if you're part of a larger team or partnership. Formalizing the business early can also help define roles and protect everyone involved. It's a strategic move that often pays off in terms of brand credibility and ease of future expansion. Now that we've talked about everything that goes into making an LLC and whether or not it's right for you in your e-commerce business, let's show you how to actually get started with it in the first place. Now, first things first, you're going to want to build a Shopify store to build your e-commerce business. Shopify is one of the easiest ways to get started in e-commerce and build your very first store for the cheapest price possible. If you want to get started with Shopify, make sure you use that link down in the description. When you click that link, you'll be brought to a page like this. And as you can see, you can get started for your first 3 months of Shopify for only $1 a month. That means that there's no huge expenses, no expensive subscription fees. You can get started with your Shopify store and start testing your product ideas immediately. All you have to do is enter in your email address here and hit the start free trial button. Once you've done all of that, you're officially ready to go inside of Shopify. Once your Shopify store is officially set up, you basically have your very first working business. The next big step is going to be filing for that LLC. I would recommend a service like LegalZoom simply because they're easy to use, very affordable, and we also use them inside of our own businesses on this channel. All you have to do is go down the link down in the description, click the link, which will then take you to this page. And as you can see, you can start your LLC as close to $0 plus filing fees. We'll go ahead and click the Start My Business button, which will then take me to this page where I can choose which of these plans I want to go with. I can go with their basic plan for only $0 plus any of the state filing fees, or their Pro plan, which gets me access to some more basic and more advanced information. Things like their operating agreement, an EIN, or even bookkeeping, as well as a bunch of other really helpful features. Once you pick which plan you want to go with, you can hit the Form My LLC button, which will then take you through a guided step-by-step setup, which will help you get your LLC off the ground and give you exact information, so that way your LLC has no issues and it's pretty much ready to go. If you guys have any questions about this process, make sure to leave them down in the comments section. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.